Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about, as you can imagine from the title of the video, pedigree, heritage breed, champion bloodline, insert, single bloodline animal here versus a mixed breed, mixed flock. Really good, interesting conversation. There's a lot of nuance here. And so what I first want to do is, I don't want to do what other people have done. I think it's very unhelpful. I am going to first tell you what my bias is straight off the bat. I want to be 100% transparent with you guys. So I'm going to tell you what my bias is based upon my training experience. And then I'm going to try and encourage you to do the opposite of what I do. And at the very end, I'll tell you and articulate why I do what I do. So I think that's the most beneficial way to go about this, because I live in a preparedness sphere that is very narrow and very specific when it comes to what my goals are and what my reasons for preparedness are. And so these values transcend everything I do when it comes to preparedness. So I want to be open with that, and I want to share those biases with you. And I feel like most people, not even in preparedness in general, but just most people in the world, they refuse to tell you what their biases are and refuse to tell you why they do what they do, because they want to seem more important than they are. So my bias: I'm a solution-based prepper. I care about solution-based preparedness. I do not prep for clout. I do not prep for monetization. I do not prep for profit. I do not prep for social media presence. I don't prep for monetization. I don't prep for, ad reads, none of that stuff. I do not prep for anything that has to do with monetary incentive, anything that has to do with social media, anything that has to do with clout. I do not prepare for those reasons whatsoever. The only thing I prepare for is solution-based preparedness, and that's what this channel is about, solution-based preparedness. And I'm here to bring that to the forefront of what it is to be a solution-based prepper. So with that being said, my options and my value system is extremely clear. I want solution-based preparedness. And so for me, I choose a mixed flock. I choose to raise mixed species. So for example, with sheep, right, I breed Katana, St. Croix, Dorper crosses. For chickens, as you guys have seen, I've done heritage breed with Cornish cross varieties. Even with ducks, I've done Khaki Campbell Pekin crosses. And so I always find that, again, when it comes to solution-based preparedness, I do it for a reason, and I will articulate that at the end of this video, I'll articulate why I do what I do. But that is my bias straight and center, and that's how I prepare here on the homestead. But I'm going to encourage you to not do what I do, and I'm going to give some very good reasons why you should not go to this facet, and then ultimately it'll be up for you to make up your own mind once you've heard the reasons why you think you shouldn't do what I do, why you've heard the articulations of why I do what I do, and then hopefully then you can make up your mind the best way you can. So with that being said, no. Do not do what I do. Do not prepare the way I prepare. I would highly recommend that you go with pedigree, champion, bloodline, species. And this is why. When we look at champion bloodline animals, with heritage breed animals, anything with a pedigree sire to it, you are automatically going to know exactly what you're getting, the product that you're getting, and also it's going to help you with any kind of monetization. If you are looking to raise animals and money is if you take a list of 5 reasons why I want to grow animals, if money is on that list of, your 3 to 5 or whatever, however many you have, some people just have 3, some people have 5. If money is on there, I would highly encourage you to look at pedigree animals. I would encourage you to spend the money and to get that piece of paper, because you are going to make huge ROIs on your investment. The shepherdess, I forget her name, shepherdess something, she raises champion bloodline Dorpers, and she's 100% correct. You can take a $4,000 a year profit off sheep and make it 40,000 plus if you have the right species of, you have the right breed of sheep. So I think that's a highly important thing to look at, and I think that that's nothing to gawk at. I think that's something that we should be taking seriously. For example, here on the homestead, we had 11 that were born, 11 sheep that were born. They're healthy, they're happy, they're vibrant. I'm looking over here because one of them is over there sleeping. He was the runt, and I don't know if we got him good in there. He was a runt. He had to be bottle fed, but he's doing great, and he'll be able to be reintroduced to the flock here in a couple weeks. But ultimately, let's say I had I just telling you I had 11, but let's say I had 50. Let's say I raised 50 happy, healthy, and now they're at butcher size, they're ready to be sold or what have you. I'm going to make significantly less money than what the shepherdess is going to make off just 10 of her champion bloodline sheep. Both good for meat. Both, you know, there's not going to be a quality difference. So we could articulate that, but brass tacks, you know, they're still going to get, you know, yields of meat. But since they're champion bloodline, you're going to make more money. You know, people are going to pay for that pedigree for breeding reasons, show reasons, or what have you. And you can still eat those sheep. So you can still eat our sheep if you want, but you're going to make more money. You're going to make more money selling them. And so I think that's a really important facet to look at. I mean, we're not talking about a difference of a few $100s here. We're talking on the high end for my mixed flock of sheep, $500 a piece. The low end on hers are probably $3,500. I mean, you can get tens of thousands of dollars for high quality champion bloodline sheep. So when you're looking at your ROI, monetary incentive is nothing to gawk at. It's something that you should take seriously, especially if you are looking as a way to produce supplemental income for your homestead. Livestock are a great way to do that. And the best way to do that is making sure you have that piece of paper that says that they're important. So again, I'm going to highly encourage you guys to look at that. I'm going to highly encourage you guys to look at the costs, risk, benefits analysis on that, because really there are certain things that are going to be attached, right? There are going to be certain, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of a good word. Strings attached, right? So one of those strings that are going to be attached with doing a pedigree, having a pedigree flock or a pedigree herd, is that you are going to definitely want to be on some kind of deworming medication protocol. Now, with what I'm saying, I'm speaking to just the truth and reality of the situation. Any vet from the sound of my voice, 99% of vets are going to tell you all your animals should be on a deworming medication protocol, especially when it comes to livestock. All of them are going to say that. Everybody says your dog's shot should be up to date, all that stuff. So anybody that's in this health sphere is going to tell you, yes, your sheep should be on a, you know, protocol of some kind of parasite medication protocol. And again, we can talk about that. We can talk about that more later. And realistically, they say whether they're mixed flock or not, or mixed herd or not, all animals should be on a deworming, you know, again, medication protocol. Again, I'm not here to mince words here. I'm just here to bring to you at light what is the factual reality. Every husbandry book, everything you look at, you know, says that's what you should do. So let's just say you were to not listen to those rules, your pedigree livestock animals would probably suffer extremely bad. In fact, I don't know anybody in the commercial lens, or anybody that does this commercially. And I know a lot of people that raise sheep, especially commercially. I don't know one of them that isn't on a deworming medication protocol. I don't know one. It doesn't exist in this space. If you're going to raise commercially, or if you're going to raise for, you know, any kind of monetary profit incentive, your animals are going to have to be on some deworming medication protocol. Again, that just comes with the territory. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, okay? I am not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just telling you that there are going to be certain strings attached for their benefit, for their health. And so when you're looking at that, you know, it's a small price to pay. Realistically, it's a small price to pay when you're looking at what you're getting back in return as far as profit goes. So again, you should do that. You know, I'm saying you should do that. You should. And so when you're looking at that, that's one perspective. Another perspective to look at, and again, this is really going to come down to what it is you're trying to do. If you get to a point in your, you know, you're going to have to constantly bring in, as you breed, you're going to need to bring in new blood, like we all do. We all have to bring in new genetics. So let's say the shepherdess, or anybody that does pedigree champion bloodline animals, let's say you found the most amazing looking Dorper, right? Let's say you raise Dorpers. You found the most amazing Dorper male you could ever find. I mean, this is a stud above studs. He's the best looking sheep that science has ever found. If he didn't have a piece of paper that says he's important, now he's worth less than a lower quality ram that has the magic piece of paper. And that's just reality. And that's something that, you know, these breeders, these people that raise these animals, these livestock, these homesteads, these farms, whatever you want to call them, these people that do raise money for monetary value, this is a problem they're going to run into. And if they run into it, I mean, again, it's pretty simple. There's no question what they have to do. Yes, recognize this is the most beautiful animal I've ever seen, but I'm sorry, I can't enter you my breeding program because you don't have a piece of paper that says you're important. Even if he is important, even if he is from that bloodline, if a piece of paper can't be articulated or presented, it's going to be worth a lot less than, say, somebody that does have that champion bloodline paperwork. So again, that is another thing that, it's another thing to look at. But again, it's a small, overall, it's a very small thing to look at, and it's not, it is what it is. So you have to choose what you're wanting and why you're wanting the animals that you want and what the purpose is for them, right? And when it comes to sheep, there's different varieties. You have meat sheep, like you have Dorpers, and then you have milk sheep. Just like with goats, you have milk goats and you have meat goats. So, when you're getting to these, pedigree animals, you exactly know the product that you're getting. So, get what it is you're trying to do. And let's say you want meat sheep or meat goats, and you want milk sheep, milk goats. You can get 2 different species, 2 different varieties, right? And then you can do what you need to do and still maintain the integrity of that genetic pool and the integrity of that piece of paper. So again, these are all great things to look at, and these are all reasons why you should look towards the pedigree, getting pedigree, heritage breed, champion, bloodline animals, because they are going to give you that. They are going to be effective in that. They're going to make the most money for their buck. You know the product that you're getting without equivocation, emphatically without equivocation. You know what the standard is, and so you're getting what it is that you want to get. So again, I'm going to highly encourage you guys, if you are looking at this from any kind of monetary perspective, you're not going to be, you can't really go wrong with getting pedigree animals. You really can't. Again, you can sell them, you can eat them. Anything you can do with a mixed breed variety, you can do with your, with your pedigree. So again, as far as that goes, pretty much everything that you'd want to do, you should be able to do with your pedigree, with few exceptions. So there I have it. I'm going to highly encourage you guys to go with pedigree for those reasons. Now, I'm going to articulate why I do mixed breed here in a second. So if you have your fill and you know what you need to do, don't feel like you need to keep watching over, but now I'll articulate why I do what I do. Now, for us here in the homestead, like I said, we do a mixed breed variety with everything here on the homestead. And the reason why we do that is because, again, we only care about preparedness, and so solution-based preparedness. And so for that reason, we want bulletproof animals, so to speak. What do I mean by bulletproof? I want, for example, steak sheep. I want a sheep that I can put in pasture, grow sustainably, without any help from the outside world. I don't want to have to depend on any inputs from the outside world. And so with our mixed flock of Katahdin, St. Croix, Dorpers, sheep, we have been able to do that. Since I have started this process, I have not dewormed once. I've done no medication protocol. The closest, as far as deworming goes, we do unpastured, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Apples grow here. Naturally, we have apples on the homestead. We have evergreen trees, pine needles, that kind of thing. So they get Christmas trees, seasonally. So during the winter season. So again, we've had 0 issues with parasite load. We've had 0 issues with having to give them medications. They 100% pasture raised. We do not overgraze here. If anything, we try to undergraze to the best of our abilities. Always good to have extra. So that is what we do here on the homestead. And so with that being said, that is where my bias lies, because, realistically, and again, when we go back to, pushing for people to do pedigree livestock, the chances that anything's going to happen, that the blackout happens where you have no access to infrastructure, is so low that I would say it's nonsensical to include it in your ROI, but the rate of return on that is so low that, it's not cost effective. Now, for me, I look at it from 3 perspectives. Number 1, the bloom goes up. Number 2, logistical supply chain issues, local blackouts, local supply chain issues to where it's not available to me in my area. That's a possibility because it's already happened to me. Third one is I get priced out of a certain market that I need, right? Whether that be feed inputs, medication inputs, dewormer inputs. We've already seen it. I've already seen it. I've already experienced this. And so since 2 of the 3 things are actually happening concurrently for me right now, it's just better off for me to focus on solution-based preparedness. And again, I don't depend on my animals for monetary, for money. The only thing I depend on them for is to feed my family. So if I can raise a sheep sustainably, off-grid, with zero inputs from the outside world, and I can fill the freezers every year, and we can have all the meat we could ever eat, I'm 100% where I need to be, and I am not going to change anything. And so that is my bias. Another thing I think about is the ability to produce a product for what I need. For example, if I'm focusing right now on I want a bigger animal. So I start off with Katana and St. Croix mixes, crosses. They're really good, very sustainable. Not the most meat on them. Then I introduced a female Dorper. She had a Katana and Dorper cross. She's like 2/3 Dorper, 1/3 Katana. Very, very beautiful. Her name's Nosy. Nosy is an incredible, great mom. Just an incredible sheep altogether. I couldn't ask for a better female sheep. She looks great. She produces big, healthy babies, and I'm like, okay, great. So now we started adding those genetics to our flock, and now we got a really nice parasite-resistant, off-grid, and they're all hair sheep, so I don't have to shear them. We got a great quality sheep that I'm super excited about. And then recently, within the last eight or so months, we have introduced a pedigree Dorper into our breeding program. Now, with that being said, I don't know what the long-term effects are going to be for his health. So far, so good. We're monitoring it, but he is a pedigree Dorper. With that being said, I did not pay for the piece of paper. The piece of paper was going to be way too much. I don't need it. It's irrelevant to me. But I know this commercial breeder through a friend. We all have a military camaraderie brotherhood that we share. So we all hit it off really good. Really great guy. And I was able to get amazing, best male Dorper I've ever. He's literally built like a pit bull. He's great. You can easily, he's great with people. He can be, hand fed, great temperament, just a great ram. And he's huge. And we introduced him to our flock, and he's doing great. I cannot complain with his performance. And again, we got him because he's huge, and he's a hair sheep, and we're hoping he adds those bigger genes to our herd, because again, we're wanting a bigger, more sustainable animal. Now, with that being said, could next year he get a parasite load that could hurt him? It's possible. Now he's with a bunch of mixed flock animals now, so the parasite load is non-existent. But again, it's a way to increase the size, and at least even if something happens to him, the children have that immunity, that parasite immunity from their forefathers and their parents. So, this allows me, being mixed breed, allows me to introduce these genes that I want into my breeding program without having to worry about hurting the whole program. So worst case scenario, something happens to my male, okay, fine, we can get another one. We can get another one in. Or we have lots of options. We still have a Katana male as well, so we have other options that we can now bring into the equation. So again, I've never used any kind of dewormers. I've never used any kind of medications, and that is for that reason, because I want a bulletproof animal that is 100% the solution-based preparedness livestock. Another thing that I really like is once we do get the bone size, the meat size that we want. Let's say we start getting a couple years from now, we're like, okay, we really need to start looking at what we can do as far as we're going to have to really, truly pull back because we don't know what's going to happen. Well, now I can now introduce other, species, other breeds, I should say, of sheep into the equation. So let's say I want to go with more of a milking sheep, right? The ability to have and produce, more milk. Well, then I can start adding that genetic makeup into my sheep. Now, are they going to be as good as a pedigree milk sheep? No, but will they be good enough to supply me and my family with all the milk we could ever want, all the cheese we could ever want, all the dairy we could ever want, all the yogurt we could ever want? Yeah. And so can I do it sustainably without having to worry about parasite load, without having to worry about bringing added inputs in? Yeah. So for us, that works. Because again, we are 100% here for a bulletproof livestock. And I know most people in the preparedness sphere, that is not the goal. And I get that. So again, I have to be very clear with my biases. I have to be very clear with what it is we're trying to do. We just want bulletproof livestock here. We want livestock that does not depend on infrastructure. And if we have to go about that in a slow, methodical way, cool. I got the time, I got the patience, we're going to do it. Again, if that is not your goal, then I would highly encourage you to not do what we do. I'm going to highly encourage anybody from the sound of my voice, if money is at all any kind of incentive, please go with the heritage breed, or go with the pedigree, or go with the, any purebred variant. I would highly encourage you to go and look at that route. So that's what I have for you guys. If you have any questions, please leave in the comment section below. If you thought this video was helpful, please leave me your feedback. I'd love to hear it. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions regarding anything preparedness, prepper related to, feel free to shout that out. And as always, guys, long live the Republic.